Linux is the best, but nobody knows it exists. And I think that's because it's incredibly hard to talk about. So I've learned some patterns and phrases that make it easy to introduce somebody to Linux in a way that piques their interest to learn more and does so without sounding crazy, annoying, or condescending. So let's get started with 4 rules for explaining Linux to anyone. Rule number 1 is wait for them to ask. As you know, the easiest way to annoy somebody is to spend 10 minutes talking about something they don't want to know. But this doesn't mean don't talk about your interests or share your passions. It just means wait for the right time and place. Usually for me, the right time and place is after somebody asks, "So what are your hobbies?" or "What do you do in your free time?" And for me, the honest answer is, "I make YouTube videos about Linux." And for you, the answer might be, "Lately I've been spending some free time learning about Linux." Or maybe you like customizing your Linux computer. Or maybe you're making something in Linux to help other people. All of these are a great way to introduce your interest and invite them to ask more. Additionally, if you don't want to wait for this topic to come up naturally, I find that if you genuinely ask somebody about their interests and hobbies and want to get to know them, they'll repay you with the same thing. Usually this is the point in the conversation where somebody will ask me, "So what's Linux?" Which brings us to rule 2. Explain without assuming. The easiest way to sound condescending is to explain something to someone that they already know. It's for this reason that I like to ask questions to gauge someone's level of knowledge. That way I avoid assuming that they don't know anything. I've found that the easiest way to introduce Linux while gauging someone's level of knowledge is to ask, "Okay, so you know how Mac and Windows are both operating systems?" And if they say yes, then I'll tell them, "Linux is a different operating system, but only about 1% of people use it." This is a great way to start the conversation for a few reasons. First being that most people will say yes because they know what an operating system is, or because you just reminded them with a few good examples. And if they don't know what an operating system is, I can quickly introduce that an operating system is like the base layer of all the programs that are running on your computer and help you start up other programs and apps. Or if we need to get really simple, I can say, an operating system is all the apps that are already installed on your computer when you buy it, even though that's a bit of an oversimplification. The other reason why this is a helpful way to introduce the conversation is because most people will be interested to learn more when they find out you're in the 1% of anything. So if their next question is, "Who is this 1%?" or "Why would anybody use Linux?" or "Why do you use Linux?" it's not time for a long explanation on the many benefits of free software, even though they do exist. It's time for rule 3. Know your audience. If you know anything about the person you're talking to, pick one thing about Linux that you think matches their interests and motivations, and tell them about that. If you don't know anything about the person, I usually pick the thing that means the most to me, and I explain why. Here are a few examples. If you're talking to the kind of person that likes to learn new things, maybe they're the kind of person that's really into career growth or personal growth, or maybe they're the academic type that really just likes learning new things. Or maybe they're even a tinkerer that likes to fix things when they're broken. If you're talking to this kind of person, you can explain that most programmers and developers use Linux, and I'm learning how to write code. Or you can explain that I want to learn how computers work, and unlike Mac and Windows, Linux actually lets me open up the hood and see what's going on underneath. Or you can explain that while my Linux computer does break pretty often, each time I fix it, I learn something new, and I can usually fix it without having to call customer support or go to the Genius Bar. If you're talking to the kind of person who's really pro-customization, maybe they're the kind of person that changes their phone background every day or is always trying the latest gadgets and widgets. Or maybe you're even talking to somebody that likes redecorating their house. If so, you can explain that using Linux brings you the same kind of enjoyment. That
I use my computer for several hours a day, and I really like Linux because I can customize almost anything about it. And having my computer be unique to me really helps me feel like it's mine. I also like to experiment with it and try new things.
If you're talking to somebody who's really pro-freedom, or maybe you know that they don't like big governments or big corporations, you can explain that
using Linux makes it harder for those folks to spy on you and collect your data.
Or you can ask them,
how much does it annoy you that Apple and Microsoft get to decide when your computer updates and when all the buttons are going to randomly change overnight? The cool thing about Linux is I, as the user, get control over all of that. If I don't want to update my computer, I don't have to. And if there's an update that causes all the buttons to change, I could learn how to program and figure out how to change them back, or find somebody else who's already written something that changes them back.
All of these are really easy to explain, and catering your explanation to your audience makes it easy for them to understand and remember. So after you've explained one thing that you think they'd find interesting about Linux, there's a good chance you've turned a boring discussion about your hobbies into an interesting discussion of your shared values and how they influence the technology that we use. But if not, that's okay, because it's time for Rule 4. Know when to quit. If you're talking to somebody who previously knew nothing about Linux, and now they know what it is and one interesting thing about it, I'd say that's a win. Because, like I said at the beginning of this video, talking about Linux is very hard, and talking about it in a way that's approachable is even harder. So if today you've learned how to plant the seed that Linux is pretty cool, I'm glad I could help. So thank you for watching, and don't forget to stay bland.